Welcome to the Joy Meets Pain podcast. I'm your host, Dorcas. As a psychotherapist who has worked with children, couples, individuals, and families for decades, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, "My family is the worst," or "I'm too embarrassed to talk about my family," or "No family is like mine." Well, guess what, listeners? All families have ishness, foolishness, happiness, shadiness, loneliness, forgiveness, hopefulness, goodness, and the list goes on. If you come from a family and are trying to navigate your family relationships, then welcome. When I initially started the podcast, I wanted to focus on family, therapy, and food, so some of my episodes were centered around these three topics. Since then, I have dived into more family issues, as you will see and hear in upcoming episodes. Please keep in mind, I am not providing therapy or medical advice. And here's a heads up. Once in a while, I will curse. So if you're looking for a clean, no foul language kind of show, this is not it. Hello and welcome to episode 6, the last episode for 2024. Not sure how much I can cover in the 20 minutes or so I have with you. Please know that the list of highs and lows of 2024 is subjective. Therefore, do not be offended by my choice. I will cover health, crime, sports, love, travel, and family dynamics. I will also do my utmost to alternate between cheerful and bleak stories, and can promise that I will end on an uplifting note. There is no better way to start this episode than with an introduction of the concept of societal regression, which is one of the 8 cornerstones of Dr. Murray Bowen's groundbreaking Bowen family systems theory. Regression occurs in response to chronic sustained anxiety. It occurs when families or society's decision-making centers on relieving the anxiety of the moment. What are some of the signs that we are and have been in a regression? There's overwhelming emotional reactivity. People become violent and start destroying each other. The togetherness individuality balance, which I talk a great deal about in my work, is disturbed by an increase in individuality. Cause and effect thinking takes over. Rights outweigh responsibility. There's greater polarization of racial groups. Drug use increases. The escalating political conflicts support Bowen's prediction that man has moved into crises of unparalleled proportions. Afghanistan, Ukraine, Syria, Lebanon, the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Israel, Gaza, Sudan, Myanmar, and many more. To add fuel to the fire, 3/4 of those forcibly displaced populations live in countries facing detrimental climate change, droughts, floods, landslides, to name a few. Reports indicate that 2024 is on track to be the warmest year on record. The crisis in the DRC, which the United Nations High Commission for Refugees described as the most complex and most neglected in the world, is also unfortunately the epicenter of the Mpox outbreak. As these conflicts expand, families are separated, children are abandoned, and women are abused. Gender-based violence is higher for women who are forced to flee. This is intergenerational trauma. Do we learn nothing from repeating these cycles? Now, onto a major high of 2024 that we can all agree on. The Paris Olympics, the world stage showcasing individual talent, teamwork, family pride, and patriotism. Talking about a high, Snoop Dogg was a special correspondent for the Olympics. I never saw that coming. Breaking or breakdancing simultaneously made a debut and a conclusion as a competitive sport. A high for me was Cameroonian boxer Cindy Ngamba's bronze medal win, which was the first ever medal for the Olympic refugee team. A total of 45 refugee athletes and para-athletes competed in the Olympics, making up the largest refugee teams to compete. Not only did Julian Alfred win the gold medal in the 100-meter race, she also set a new world record, taking home the first medal for the small island of St. Lucia in the West Indies. What a proud moment for her country, and family. The Olympics bring us closer for those 20 or so days as we gather to support the athletes who represent our countries. For many athletes, it's a family story. Watching American gymnast Hesley Rivera's father in the stands says it all. Family support, when encouraging and caring, gets us far. My next feel-good story is about an athlete of sorts, one who does not shy away from chasing the need to feel good. Mrs. Jennifer Lopez, also known as J-Lo or Jenny from the block. I have nothing against anyone who seeks love in safe, responsible, and age-appropriate ways, which she has done. Earlier this year, she released an album titled This Is Me Now, a love story. I love the album title because it highlights the evolution that we all go through. J-Lo was not who she was in marriage number 1, or number 2, or number 3. In a clip from the trailer of the album shared on Harper's Bazaar, J-Lo said, "Whenever someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, my answer was always in love." Oh my, this is my response. Love is beautiful when it's warm, safe, reciprocal, and respectful. Who can blame J-Lo for wanting these things? I would be curious to know the following. Where did this value of love come from? Why was and is it so important to her? How have the children been impacted by these many blended family systems? Are family members able to continue relationships with former in-laws once the marriage ends or ties are severed? What intergenerational patterns surface regarding how emotions are expressed? Finally, is J-Lo really seeking love or something else? Many have criticized her for being a hopeless romantic. I honestly do wonder if she is indeed seeking love or something else. I applaud her for moving on before things get toxic especially when children are involved. The foundations we set for our children will shape the rest of their lives. As author Bell Hooks put it, too many of us need to cling to a notion of love that either makes abuse acceptable or at least makes it seem that whatever happened was not that bad. Talking about moving on, this year I found myself contemplating many of my interpersonal relationships, as I know others around me did too. Life is short. Put your energy where it is needed, wanted, and appreciated. Safety in relationships is key. A lesson and a question I will continue to ask myself is, how did I make those around me feel safe today? So the next story I'm diving into is one that deserves an episode or two, and one that will likely have us scratching our heads for decades to come. The 2024 US election and Time Magazine's Person of the Year, President Donald J. Trump. I'm sure you've all heard as much as you can stomach, hence I will keep it short. So some of the demographics of those who voted for him. 53% of white women, 39% of Latina women, 47% of Latin men, and between 21 and 25% of Black men, depending on which poll you read. And did I say 53% of white women? Speechless. The elections and Trump should really be two separate stories. He is a walking research project. I wonder if he even knows that Elon Musk is from a shithole country. Buckle up, y'all, for a roller coaster ride. I don't have enough time to talk about other top stories related to sex, drugs, beauty, health, and culture. P. Diddy, a father of daughters, Ozempic, fentanyl, cancer, AI love dolls, or the fact that diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, as it's commonly referred to, is not working. I must talk about Luigi Mangione. His case forces us to confront the reality of our healthcare system, a system that prioritizes profits over people. My doctorate dissertation studied racial and ethnic health disparities in America. Thus, this is a topic that gets my blood boiling. For decades, Americans have faced impossible choices: pay a bill or seek medical care. Can we remain hopeful that the healthcare system will prioritize saving lives over making money? Will we ever see the day when no one has to choose between their health and finances? And what will it take to end discrimination that forces so many of us to fight not just for treatment, but for dignity in care? An important lesson we can all learn here is, without good health, life is a hurdle. Make your health a priority and seek a second opinion when in doubt. All right, so jumping back to sports. Can somebody please let me know if Netflix offered a refund for the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight? All right, sticking to sports, this next story ranks high for me. It was both a joyful and painful experience from 2024, and this was watching and supporting my homeboy Francis Tiafoe, known by many as Big Foe, playing in the US Open. Nope, we are not from the same country of Africa. After an exhilarating match where he triumphed over the incredible Ben Shelton, Big Foe faced a tough loss in the men's semifinals against Tommy Fritz. I was devastated. Tiafoe has a family story that resonates with many Africans. He has his moments like we all do, but more frequently exudes great sportsmanship. I wonder what his lessons from 2024 are. I will be rooting for you in 2025 and beyond, Big Foe. My final story is a life-changing experience I had on a trip to New Delhi, India earlier this year. The search for affordable healthcare for a family member took me to India, where the doctors discovered life-threatening conditions that had been undiagnosed in the US. For years, we went to the same doctor who prescribed the same medications and sent us on our way. While I don't condone Luigi Mangioni's actions, I understand his message. For the majority, the US healthcare system lacks care and is not concerned about health. I digress. Back to my trip. The trip brought my family closer together as we consulted, connected, and supported each other more than ever. Everywhere we traveled to in India, we found a new village of supporters, people who embraced us with kindness, care, and humility. Some of them have now become like family. Outside of my life in Zimbabwe, I had never experienced such love. We laughed often, we shared stories, we shared food, and we were loved genuinely. This is what life should be. Here's hoping your 2025 is filled with laughter, stories, good food, and genuine love. I hope you found this episode informative and engaging. If you found it meaningful in some way and have comments to share, or you would like to share your family story, whether joyful or painful, please send an email to info@joymeetspain.com. Thank you for tuning in and for allowing me to spend this part of your day with you. Please like, rate, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And of course, please spread the word. Till next time, stay well and stay present.